Hello everyone. Well, I am so excited to finally have this sweet little journal finished so I can share it with all of you. I am calling it my Christmas journal. It's definitely late. Hello and Happy New Year. But I wanted a chance to put some photos in here and do some journaling of special times we spent with family. And now I am ready to share the completed project with you. So I have taken this cocoa box, and some of you may have noticed I put a few pictures on my Instagram under Blue North Crafting that showed how I used this box to create this journal. It ended up being about a 4 3/4 by 7 size. I did a 1 signature 3-hole pamphlet stitch with some baker's twine for the stitching. I have used some metal corners on it here. And throughout the journal, I have used a digital kit from Cara Brandon Creations called Cozy Christmas, which I will list below the video. I also purchased a physical kit from her that included fabrics and trims, die cuts, scrapbook paper, all those kinds of fun little things. And so I will mention some of that throughout the book. So on the cover here, I have a die cut that Cara had sent me along with this cute little brad, and for the closure I used the brad along with a button and just used some of this thin cording, and on the back I used a red eyelet there. I wanted to keep it very simple. I didn't want to use any beads or anything with too much weight because this is very small. Then I also have some vintage lace on here, some scrapbook paper from Cara, and then I included this little paper doily that I had coffee dyed. So let's look inside the journal. Inside the cover here, I fussy cut out this image from a greeting card. This is one of Cara's tags. Used some of her gold cording, and I'm not sure, she may have sent me this other little brad, I'm not sure. And then that little heart there I just added because my mother-in-law sent us a Christmas card and she loves using stickers on her envelopes, and so that was included and I wanted to cut that out and use it. This is part of Cara's digital here. You'll have to excuse the noise. We live near Air Force Base, so there's always planes flying over. Then I added my little wish list that I had from a little list pad. And I had this beautiful paper in my stash. And then I forgot to mention, but the fabric is something that I got from Cara's kit. And I absolutely love it. Then to start the signature, I used this craft greeting card. I really like it because it's sturdy, so it was perfect to use for the outside. I have this vintage crocheted trim that I absolutely adore that I've had in my stash. Then on the inside here we have Cara's digital, and this little piece down here is actually from a different digital of hers within the same kit. Then up here I have a napkin covered business card, and this was from the location where my husband's Christmas party was, work Christmas party. And so I just tucked that in there and wrote about that. Then I added some napkin over on this side. I got this kind of idea from Carrie the Crafter here on YouTube. He was showing ways to decorate your page without overdoing it and giving yourself space to still journal. We have a little scrapbook paper, one of Cara's fussy cuts. This is from a gardening gift catalog, and I just fussy cut that out, and that way I could still write under here if I wanted. Over here we have scrapbook paper from Cara. I have a family photo, which I'm not going to be showing the family. Just want to keep their privacy. This paper is super soft, and it is from like the end of it came from the back of an old cookbook. Add a little scrapbook paper down there. This is some Christmas letterhead that I just trimmed and put on the top. Down here, I just had fun doing a little punch outs with some scraps. This image is from an Ideals magazine. And I added this beautiful gold trim that I've had in my stash. Next is another greeting card that I cut down for a little tuck. This is from that same card. I just cut some of the wording off, and I added this gold brad and then that beautiful trim from Cara and fabric there. Digital from Cara. Next, just use some scraps to make a little cluster. Some washi tape down here and here. Vintage trim and Cara's digital. Over here we have, this is a good example of two of Cara's background digitals. And along with my Christmas letter this year, I decided to add a page of photos. So I just added Cara's digital on the back of the photos and kind of folded it like a tag. And I like how that idea turned out. Over here we have an old envelope. I just added some napkin on. A sticker cutout from Cara. This page I have a couple cutouts from some wrapping paper and some scrapbook paper on there as well. Over here I have a little rubber stamp from my stash. Here's one of Cara's corner tucks, and I trimmed it way down. You can kind of see I fussy cut that out there. I just love how that turned out. And then on this here, I made a tag doing some masterboard, and I did a strip kind of idea using scrapbook paper, music paper, and some of Cara's digitals on here too, along with some lace and another one of her fussy cuts. And I have a photo on the back, eyelet up at the top with some vintage lace trim. This image here came from an Ideals magazine, and since it's a gingerbread house, I thought it was a perfect place to write about the cookies that I made at Christmas time. Another one of Cara's corner tucks. This one you can see I didn't fussy cut it down as much, so a little bit more of that image you can see there, and another family photo. I had a lot of fun coming up with this. It's just, you know, you have a lot of scraps sitting there, and so you just kind of come up with something that is different maybe, and that's what I did here. I've used some cording from Cara, put some eyelets in this, and this paper is from an Ideals magazine, and then I just wrote about an event underneath here, and I have this cute little star paper clip, and then one of Cara's large tags. I just did a little faux stitching around, and I put some scrapbook paper on the back. Her background digital and more of that beautiful crochet trim that I have. Here we have a work basket envelope, order form you can see. And then on the inside, Cara had given me a bag of goodies, and so I cut out part of the bag and put that here. And another fun idea I came up with, we got about 12 Christmas cards in the mail, and I thought it would be a great idea to cut out where they were from. And so it just is just a cool thing to go back and look at. Okay, we got something from all the way from Phoenix and Raleigh and back home where I'm from in Michigan, in Denver, Vegas, so in Texas. So it just a fun idea. I just kind of came up with on a whim, and I really like how that came out. Over here we have another wrapping paper image on an envelope. A die cut that Cara had included. Another family photo back here. And then Cara gave me a couple coin wrappers, and I just did a little stamping on there. Over here, this is off of one of Cara's pages, and I added this poem from an Ideals magazine, and even the image on the back is beautiful. And this was onto some old ledger paper, washi at the top there. Next is a napkin, and then I added this little vintage Christmas tag. Over here we have a vintage greeting card, which I really, really loved. I had to cut it down a little bit, but you can still see the basic image, and it's just these adorable mice on here. And I backed that onto some scrapbook paper, made it like a little tuck, little hidden pocket, I guess you could call it. And this is a little faux Rolodex card from Cara's kit. It says family traditions on it, and I just added a couple of our Christmas traditions. And that was actually put onto some wallpaper that came from Cara. Now in the center of my signature, I have the scrapbook paper from Cara, and I do want to show that she had sent it, and she had stamped on the back, obviously using some of her ink, and I just thought it was cool. So I left it like that, added the pockets, a couple fussy cuts from Cara's kit. This here is a little greeting card dated 1990, and I just put a couple photos in there of my husband and I with our grandson. This is one of Cara's journaling cards. Just did a little stapling and scrapbook paper, and another photo on the back. Here I've added some scrapbook paper. This poem again came from an Ideals magazine. I had embossed it and ran it through a die cut machine, and then I used my ink to kind of just highlight some of the raised design there. See if you can see that a little bit. And one of the coin wrappers from Cara, I used one of my punches to just create this little top on it with a staple and some cute little trim. Over here we have more vintage lace, napkin, little side tuck here with one of Cara's journaling cards, another photo on the back, and just added some ribbon on there with a staple. Here, the other side of that envelope, I used another wrapping paper image. You get a little bit more into frame there. Here we have more of my masterboard, and then I just added some fabric from Cara and added the little red brad to it. The other side of that envelope, and I stamped this image on here. On this side, I created a belly band with scrapbook paper, some fabric, and another one of Cara's journaling cards. She had included a couple recipe cards in the physical kit. I took one and added a cheese log recipe. Every year I like to make something new, usually a different Christmas cookie, but this year I didn't have the chance, but I did create this appetizer, so I thought I would write that on here. And it has a really beautiful raised image, and again, I just took my ink and kind of highlighted that a little bit more. Over here, I have Ideals image again. Made a little tag with my trim and a little staple and a piece of scrap paper. Another little mini collage. You know, it's amazing the things you can do with just all the little scraps you have laying around. Washi, and then another Ideals image. Some of the fabric that was on the cover. Over here I have another napkin, and I created another little cluster with scraps of paper and crocheted trim and wrapping paper. Snowflake there. Another little flip out with scrapbook papers, cardstock. Over here, this image is from the Christmas card I showed at the front, and I just cut it down and added more of that beautiful gold trim that I have in my stash, and added another one of Cara's fussy cuts down here. My daughter-in-law had made us some homemade pizza, so I included that image and took some scrapbook paper to make some little photo corners. Use some fabric up here to kind of make a little ruffle, and another piece from Cara's physical kit. There's that same stamp, and the letterhead I had shown towards the beginning of the video. This was the wording at the bottom, so I added that on here. And this is a little piece of tissue paper I had included. Over here, another fussy cut More scraps from my masterboard, just cut it down and made a little corner spot. And this is another wrapping paper image. The other half of that one envelope. Another little sticker from Cara. And then in here I put my annual Christmas letter. There's some fabric and a little punch out. Another piece from wrapping paper. Again, another wrapping paper piece. It was kind of falling apart. So I glued it to this mint green envelope came in the mail, junk mail. And I thought what a better way to use it than to add Santa on there. Over here, this is an adorable image. This comes from one of Cara's digital pages. And I just cut it way down and used it as like a peekaboo pocket. This was part of her physical kit she had included. Another her digital again. Over on this side, I've added some wrapping paper. See, there's a lot of things you can do with wrapping paper. I've made a hidden pocket here with another collage of family. And in case you're wondering, I have a selfie printer, so it gives me the option to whether I want to do 1 photo, 2 photos, or 4 photos on like a 4x6, which is ideal for a small book like this. The other half of the ideals page. Another little cluster I made just with literal scraps. Washi tape piece. Over here I had made gingerbread waffles for breakfast and just decorated it with this lace trim and fabric onto Cara's digital. Just cut it way down for a background. Use this stamp here from my stash. On this side again, just little scraps laying around, more napkin. And I have a couple punch outs down here and I made like a little flower with this and added the brad. Cara's digital. On the back here, we have a pocket. Again, Cara's digital. And here's that same stamp I had used before. And just use my little postage style punch that I have for the background and some pretty lace on there. And then in here we have another of Cara's large journal cards. And I added a little green cording on there. And then on the back, that same beautiful scrapbook paper I had, my stash, some old lace. Then the only picture I'm really sharing is this one I took of my willow tree nativity scene. And the reason why I put it on here is my husband was determined to make me a stable or creche, whatever you want to call it, for all of my nativity scene. And I absolutely love how it turned out. And I'm so grateful that he was persistent and came up with something. And he actually created that out of a palette. So there are lots of things you can do with palettes, and that's another one. That is my completed Christmas journal. I am so glad that I finished it and had an opportunity to share it with all of you. And I hope you'll like and subscribe to see more of my videos. And I have some fun things coming up, and I hope you will join me. So for now, all of you have a wonderful day.